Hello and welcome back, everybody. We are back with our final series of the day. We got to see Poker Face versus Panther earlier, Rhodes versus Streamers. We just closed the book on Guangzhou Charge versus O2 Blast, and now we're gonna wrap the day with a nice bow of Sin Prisa Gaming versus the Shanghai Dragons.
We haven't had any 3-0 Overwatch today, which makes me excited about what we have ahead of us, especially getting a chance to take a look at Sin Prisa Gaming, which we haven't had a chance to see since the summer stage opens. They had a top 6 performance in the spring stage opens, unfortunately falling to Dreamers in an explosive 5-map series, but summer stage opens, they did get top 2 in order to make their way to play the knockouts here. Very exciting to see them, especially knowing that there's some familiar faces. I mean, there's Aldo. That is a player that we ended up getting a chance to see just a little bit of on the Toronto Defiant in the 2022 season, finally making a reappearance on Sin Prisa Gaming for this year. But also a lot of star talent to yet make a name for themselves.
Yeah, and they're playing off against the Shanghai Dragons that, you know, have started kicking things up now by the end of what we saw from the qualifiers. But I believe earlier on in the season, they had lost against Sin Prisa Gaming here, where they were able to secure, like you mentioned, first in the Summer Stage Open for Group A just to qualify here. But this could be the revenge that Shanghai Dragons could get against them.
Yeah, that was the spring stage knockouts. It was really exciting to see just that, like, 5-map series come through between both of these teams. And, oh boy. I mean, both have made some adjustments since then, but I think for the most part, when you look at Shanghai Dragons, this is a team that they've been tried and tested this season, but they have also started to find their ground, and Shanghai Dragons just like having a pretty consistent second half of the stage, like very middle ground, having that 4-4 record coming into things. Not towards the top, not towards the bottom, but still just doing well for themselves. It was a lot of dive from them though, and that's an archetype that has kind of been thrown out the window, so we'll have to see what they're able to bring to the table today too.
Thinking both, looking at what we've already seen thus far within our last 3 series, love being able to see the diversity. Can this help enable Fate here, seeing that he's got the ball, the Ram, of course the Winston as well here, but the Shanghai Dragons mixing things up, looking at huge update. Got Ilari in the mix. We get to see some gameplay of her earlier on. What can we expect from Sin Prisa versus Shanghai Dragons? As we get to see, we are going on to Antarctic Peninsula as our first map.
Yilgaru is also a main tank specialist. Like, it comes down to like Ball and Winston. Those have been kind of his primary tank heroes that he's liked to play. But he's very young. There's a lot of room to be able to grow and also try to establish himself a little bit more as an Overwatch 2 player, finding a lot of his success earlier on in the last season as well as 2021. And there's Australia, which is very exciting. So now finding himself in the Korean circuit. Korean circuit is just kind of like a next step up, and for everybody on Sin Prisa Gaming, I feel like when you look at the Contenders Korea circuit, it's a great proving ground for so many of these teams. So let's see if they can keep stepping it up here on this first map. This is Shanghai's pick.
Yeah, they're the ones that are picking Antarctic Peninsula. For those of you guys just tuning in, just waking up, checking out what's been going on in APAC land, the higher seeded teams do get to select the first map, while the loser of that map gets to pick the following map, and the winner gets to pick the side selection, as it has been usually for these knockout brackets. Now taking a look now as well as what we may see roll out from the Shanghai Dragons. I'm excited. We've already seen Torb. Once again, we've already seen Ilari. Soldier, of course, too. The Sim. Very aggressive play with the Sim teleporters and helping the rest of these teams get set up into position.
If there were 2 teams I would expect to run the dive versus dive, especially looking at Antarctic Peninsula, it would definitely be Shanghai Dragons and Sin Prisa Gaming. As I stated before, Yilgaru does like to play the Wrecking Ball. Fate also playing a ton of Winston earlier on this season. So it makes a lot of sense to try to lean into comfort while also trying to play around with the new shiny tools that have become available, not just from the patch, but also from these newer heroes. So, yeah, there's the Ilari and the Baptiste next to each other. This has been kind of more of a classic staple of this backline coming through from a lot of teams looking at this new patch. It also means a lot of explosive damage as well as something that try to chunk down opponents very quickly. It also lock down the mobility from someone like Viper and Furious on the other side.
Which could actually be done there too. He does get that ult, you're doing so much space. Already finding that first pick onto Fate is definitely how you do it, but it's a trade-off as Viper is able to get revenge, take care of turret. So is Kisu now. Migaru here too. So having to be careful. Never get around here. Wu-Chan saved by the Immortality field before eventually getting taken out by Gangnam Jin. But this is the Shanghai Dragons taking that first team fight win.
That was so chaotic as well. It's gonna be like that for this series. Like there's a little bit of setup now that can happen now that Shanghai Dragons has taken control of this point. They can set up forward, they can set up these off angles, but it still is about dive versus dive. Can you get access to the back line? And Sin Prisa Gaming actually gonna lean a little bit more into a stable back line as we do see Hyunjae switch off of that Baptiste and go over to the brig to help just have that shield bash available to stop that dive pressure.
Rush up and activated ready for Furious. They're gonna get it so quickly though, but they get deleted by Hyunjae on the other side. Fate is already meeting his fate with 3 down from the Shanghai Dragons. Another advantage is in favor for SPG.
Alright, we got the Captive Sun available now, the Wrecking Ball Mines. Shanghai Dragons walked away with a lot of capture progress with this first point, but Prisa have so much to be able to work with now. Especially when you know that the Dragon Blade is online. Okay, not even gonna wait as a response tool. Just gonna go for the mines now to try to start matching that progress. And force Shanghai Dragons to also go a different direction.
Holding on to the utility that they can here too. Tran also has that Captain Sun while Kisu activates the visor. The blade here coming in from Viper, the sound barrier for Gangnam Jin. So at least allow the Shanghai Dragons to get incredibly aggressive here. Wu-Chan taking to the skies with that Captain Sun, and it's a trade here. The Shanghai Dragons lose out on their DPS while Fate pops the Primal Iris right back to the spawn room door, while Hyunjae is going to be able to still hold on to the rally for that next push here. And evening up the score already, setting their feet onto that point is great because they're nearing 50% with that rally ready.
Shanghai Dragons, that was such an expensive fight for them. That's everything off the board, and so that rally, even more important that you just pointed out. You're able to play a lot more aggressively, and it's also a really nice insurance policy, especially if something like that happens. Wu-Chan just gets taken down immediately.
First pick here, the Dragons to immediately retaliate. On this side, playing by the staircase, V8. Pick up that rally that we had mentioned now. We try to isolate Fate, gets deleted. Love the follow from Aldo here too, who's about to get that pulse online. And Game finds a play whip onto Viper next. Coming off there too, over by the side. Shanghai Dragons now having to go for another reset potential here and nearing 85% in favor for SPG.
Shanghai Dragons still don't have much to be able to come back into this one with, and you're looking right now at just somebody being able to go in and get the panic touch because Shanghai Dragons aren't a full team of 5 at the moment. So it's gonna have to be Gangnam Jin.
Overtime taken away now here. We force that out. Fate playing around the back end while the high ground is going to be Aldo, who's still holding on to that pole strong. He's about to get the rush now here too. Finds that first pick up to Miyogaru, who's going to be big here to flip this point right back in their favor. Quick disengage now coming in from SPG.
They know that if they engage quickly and they're able to come back in fast, like they can get 2 more recontested. They've already done the heavy lifting of getting to that 99%, but Shanghai Dragons have themselves enough time to actually start getting ultimates in line, and that's where things get really scary for SPG. Although has a great opportunity to try to break this open with a pulse bomb. And if that happens, then SPG may just be able to snowball this. But Shanghai Dragons has a ton of response now.
Was looking for the opportunity, but even bigger, finding Fate out here. We talked about it before, but that multi-core to create that space, and now the visor's activated to try to contest Wu-Chan, who was in the skies briefly, still can't get away. He's just gonna be able to nail that down, and here comes the blade from Viper, finding a quick 2K before taking down the turret, as the Shanghai Dragons still plant their feet on this point.
Shanghai Dragons, they're getting it done. They had their backs against the wall, and now it's 8 seconds remaining. Like, SPG's gonna have to try to get back into this one, although didn't ever get a chance to use this pulse bomb, and can't again!
Wow. No pulse bomb off the table here. Gets that huge first pick. Fate pops the primal after falling to half health. sending everybody from SPGO around where nobody could try to contest, but narrowly still manages to touch with one toe in. It's going to be the rally right afterwards. Where are the follows? Where is the health as Hunte gets taken out? It was A that was right there coming to his aid. Right behind them with Wuchen here too. Here comes Although finally the pulse bomb. Is this going to be enough though? With Wuchen coming in, getting that boop, the finishing blow onto Viper. The number advantage still favors Shanghai Dragons here before the rest of SPG roll in.
We've got the Wrecking Ball mines now on the point. There are a few members of Sin Prisa Gaming that are able to come back, but that stall might actually be enough. There is a Sombra. Hisu is able to hack out Milgaru, but there's still this minefield that Shanghai Dragons have to play around.
We'll play around that space with the rush though. They can get into position even faster as Viper trying to nail down Aid. Literally playing for their life. Green gets the follow-up immediately afterwards, but Kisu making this up to the Sombra. Look at that old charge that he was almost able to get so quickly. Regardless, that was a huge swap here they were able to get, and the follow from Fate was looking really close here, but the Shanghai Dragons managed to flip the point right back in their favor and take that first round.
Yeah, that was insanity. Hisu being able to pick out the Sombra was just the perfect choice that you could have ever wanted in this situation. I mean, the fact that you almost got an EMP on line 2, like, that is absolutely fire. But Shanghai Dragons able to claw their way back through after struggling a lot to break past this back line. A lot of that, though, like, hats off to the Genji play. Those blades were immaculate, and now we get a chance to rotate through to another point on Antarctic Peninsula. This time, let's see the Reinhardt versus Reinhardt. I'm ready for this. It's icebreaker time.
Oh, we are ready. I see the duking out between the both Reinhardts here, too. Only thing is, we also get to see Aiden Kisu, how they play around these teleporters to initiate this rotation onto the point here, as Milgaru does have that point advantage, as well as the turrets have already been set up, although being on the Bastion is a difference maker between the setup.
Although, just having the point already, like, look at how much damage you're going to be able to do to something like the Mei Wall. And that is now a cooldown that is offline. It won't be able to protect you from this Bastion for very long.
Mortality Field there to help out Faye, who's incredibly low but can't survive through the onslaught of damage from Aldo before Viper is able to pinpoint the threat. Kisu gets that trade too, and Iris already has window to Mato Uchan. Window for window to the soul here, but don't look too deep because right behind you is Kisu. On the other side, jumps into the line of sight of the pin. Iris is still right there, and the Shanghai Dragons are able to delete that progress and take the point for themselves.
Bastion is such a tricky hero because despite the changes that have come through for it, it's still a team synergy check. And Shanghai Dragons are a team that have so much synergy and also had so much practice with each other. They were able to handle that really nicely. Despite the fact that the Mei Wall came out early, they made some great reputations to cut away from that damage. Now they also have Photon Barrier. So Bastion not as effective, and we will see all those from
I feel like we're seeing a Milgaru sandwich. They put the Mei Wall in front of him, they put the Photon Barrier behind him before he managed to kite away. About to get that Shatter online to match that with Milgaru and Fate. And Jay also has that Sound Barrier ready, having the progress on his ultimate a little quicker before Gundam Jin. Shanghai Dragons. Now looking to retaliate, playing around the wall though, but Aldo finding Viper first. Here comes the Shatter. It's found Aldo, and on the other side, Milgaru with the Sound Barrier setting up SPG into position, gets the entire team wipe onto Shanghai Dragons.
Oh my god, anything Fate can do, Milgaru just wanted to do it better at that point. That was a huge backline shatter. Especially when the door was open, Fate was off doing his own thing. No wall available or shield to be able to stop that. And so, nice quick cleanup here for the game to get back into this one. And we've got the Amp Matrix 2 and the Photon Barrier. That's a lot of damage coming in from Dragons. It's going to force out Sound Barrier.
And the space too that they could actually build off, forcing them to funnel onto the one side of the Photon Barrier that the window is looking through. But nonetheless, Iris is able to find aid with Fate going down here. Big Pig, you only really have Hung Jae there for that sustainability, and that's about to get cleaned up here as Although gets taken out with the Blizzard in hand. Shanghai Dragons are also able to reclaim the point.
Oh boy, this has been so back and forth. It's been so exciting to be able to watch these two teams clash against each other. It was the dive styles at the very beginning of the map. Now it is going to be these Reinhardt rushes in this mirror. But both of these teams have a lot of practice with this. Shanghai Dragons, especially when you look at how they've been able to use their teleporters. Great. A-step went off, but Shanghai Dragons are falling for the bait.
Wall for wall on the other side as a blizzard was called in from Aldo. Saw the follow-up onto Fate and Viper setting up Sin Prisa now in the driver's seat. Finding Gangnam Gym next, but the delay is inevitable, which is huge here for the Shanghai Dragons since they were able to get 80% off of that stall.
And now they get to come back in this one too without using anything else other than the amplification matrix, which feels really nice because Hisu can stall for some time with the photon barrier, and then you get a chance to work up these ults when you just are just percentages away from being able to get something like the Earth Shatter online again. But SPG, they do have an Earth Shatter. We saw how effective Milgaru's was in that last fight. Can he do it again? No!
Oh no! They were in communication. They wanted to get that follow-up and just isolate Fate, but it's fine. Even though he had that barrier up, we saw the follow-up from Wu Chan. They were able to isolate him and get that first pick. They do trade that for A, who goes down with the photon barrier in hand. You could use it right out of spawn here too, depending on how this fight flips. 78% in climbing for SPG. And Iris is out. Fate trying to make his way back, and it's a reset for the Shanghai Dragons.
That was a big eco push though for Shanghai, because you at this point, like, yes, you're getting a lot of cooldowns, but Shanghai Dragons did not get staggered. You're able to now come in this one with the Earth Shatter as well as that Blizzard. That Blizzard's huge. Be able to just fully SPG off at this point.
99% overtime activated window called in the face of the photon barrier. It's going down shortly here as the Blizzard as well from Viper. Moving on to this point here, they gotta keep their feet planted right there too. Tries to dive into sound barrier, the shatter bump Fate doesn't find the outcome that it desperately wanted here as Milgaru is about to get his own. Fate caught in the middle. Milgaru now gonna send it down onto Gangnam Jin, and Fate clean up shop around the Shanghai Dragons. And Sin Prisa Gaming still in the works here, taking that second round.
That first round was so close, the second round even closer. Maybe those Earth Shatters outside of Milgaru's at the very beginning weren't super effective, but it was really all about cooldown management between these two teams. And now we're going to switch things up again as sub-level brings even more new challenges for these teams to face. I am so excited. Like, do we actually see the Reaper? Hisu's Reaper last season, so good. I really kind of want to see that again. Or maybe even the Sombra though, just knowing how clutch that came in, like at that first point.
I feel like I was dreaming. We saw the Sombra and the Tracer all together in one at the very end right there. But you know what? They reminded us real quick what happened in that second round with the changes that they're bringing in. Just as we're seeing right now here, Hisu now sticking to the shoulder instead as Shanghai Dragons try to prioritize getting onto that high ground.
Shanghai Dragons on this high ground to allow Hisu to just get set up, especially when you can make that quick rotate on a soldier. You have a lot of angles to be able to play from, and we've seen that a lot from something like the Hanzo or even the Sojourn on this map in particular. Otherwise, everybody else on Shanghai and SPG, they're going to be getting set up around the point and ready to make those dives.
Getting activated here too. Milgaru being a nuisance on this ball. That's what we were mentioning before here too. Something we'll probably see in Flashpoint later down the line here. Also falling incredibly low, and so is Viper. Just trying to bring all the rest of Shanghai Dragons to his attention while helping the rest of SPG to move forward like 8 here. So close to getting that multi-core too. Fate is still falling low here, but healing up, but isn't enough to keep Hisu alive, unfortunately. Goes down. He was nearing that visor. SPG are able to claim that point first, and it's so much pressure that the Shanghai Dragons are feeling that they're looking to try to disengage, maybe counter-rotate and wait out for Hisu.
May as well just step back. You called out that the visor's almost online, so want to wait to be able to engage with that. Plus, you have the container rush if you want to just lay that down and close the gap between yourself and SPG, force out some of those mobility cooldowns. But Wu Chan has his captive son, the first ultimate in this fight. This has a chance to be very explosive if you're able to coordinate this for the rest of the dive.
Or imagine with a multi-core on top of that here too, the space that it controls and the minefield on top of it. Where can Shanghai Dragons touch this point with a toe without feeling that extra pressure? You see that Viper felt it, feeling the heat here as Hisu had popped that visor earlier on, but it was just trying to clear maybe some space that SPG weren't worried about. Taking to the skies earlier on was with the captive sub was Wu Chan, and the follow-up from Aldo finds Fate in Iris. Love this display from SPG. Rather expensive, but at least they could still hold on to that rally for the next fight.
Yeah, the rallies could very well be enough to deal with Viper's Dragon Blade. Like, you have abilities to shut that down, especially when you look at something like the Shield Bash. He sees off the map. Oh, no. Nugaru's going to take this advantage of this and just try to get in to knock somebody out into the loving arms of the rest of the team. He's just going to make that quick swap over to the Silver 2, just recognizing Shanghai Dragons are starting to run out of time.
Nugaru is playing You Spin Me Right Round real quick here just to get into the move here as Fate gets taken out with a Shield Bash. MJ has been on fire with this break play between the Shield Bash and even the Float Whip here too. Wu-Chang gets a follow-up onto Gundam Jin. It's another reset for the Shanghai Dragons when they haven't even been able to flip the point once so far.
They haven't really been able to use their ultimates either. Like, it's just been shutdown after shutdown as SPG is looking to just go ahead and activate that overtime. And he's already caught out.
That is not what you like to see here while Viper pulls the trigger on the blade. It's a desperate measure. They force the overtime again. It was burning away, but there's not enough numbers as the Shanghai Dragons get wiped out. Sin Prisa take map number 1 on our target peninsula.
Viper got stunned. Viper got stunned out of the Dragon Blade, and that was what I was afraid of. You have to rally for the sustainability and then just shut him down. That was a clean display in that third round by Sin Prisa Gaming. Really nice to be able to see them just show up, especially when you look at this matchup. And I think at the rip, you're like, okay, like Shanghai Dragons probably favored here. Those first 2 rounds very close. Sin Prisa Gaming though in that third one, not so much.
See how those adjustments come into play because we got map number 2. We're going to be going on to Hybrid. That's going to be coming to you on the other side of this break. Welcome back, everybody. Our contenders teams are having a pretty fun time thus far here for the day here in APAC. Sin Prisa took map number 1 on our Antarctic Peninsula, and we are moving on to map number 2.
Map number 2, Shanghai Dragons. Because they lost that first map, they do get a chance to pick where we go next for our hybrid. And that's really exciting because, like, honestly, one of the things I always love most about seeing these map pick formats is you do get a chance to try to play a little bit more strategically around something that you're really good at, as well as what your opponents are maybe not.
Oh no, unfortunately for that sign,
please hero so I can get home with public transit.
Shout out to Unknown with a quick translate, but sorry to that guy for, unfortunately, that's not gonna happen, but alright, with Shanghai already losing map number 1, it's gonna be taking some time here. We are moving on to Midtown though, and that is where Shanghai Dragons want to take us here. They tried so much so to come alive at the very end of AP, even trying out the Sombra. Didn't work out. We saw the changes that came into this new season, and Sombra and the changes, especially with her ult, charged up a lot slower. Doesn't really work out the same way, and that's why we're seeing such diversity in the meta thus far. There isn't really a meta that has been established, but you can see so much diversity with a lot of these teams more so playing to their strengths, like we actually saw with Sin Prisa.
Absolutely. I feel like this map in particular is a little bit funky to try to go to, just knowing that both Sin Prisa and Shanghai Dragons already had proclivity to go towards the dive. Like, Midtown is one of those maps that we have seen a little bit more be dive focused, and that does play a little bit more into Fate's hero pool, but also the Wrecking Ball choice was not too bad for Sin Prisa. That might be a chance to play another role here, but I don't know. It's so tough to actually make that call knowing that we are playing in this brand new patch.
I do like the fact that you pinpointed the ball nonetheless, just because Milgaru had so much impact, not just on the ball, but on the range. Like over 11,000 damage in like the span of like 10 minutes. It was insane how much damage he was able to put out there in that first map. Looks like we are sticking to the Orisa, which was actually expected here. Fate just trying to stick to the comfort picks that we had seen in that first map here for the Shanghai Dragons, sticking to that Winston pump. Oh my god, we got melted.
Yeah, Fate got chunked. I actually thought Fate might have gone down there. I think that was just a full fire focus of multiple headshots for everybody on SPG. But regardless, you like have to waste your bubble there and wait for everybody to just kind of get back into things. This is tough. Okay, so you do have the ability to dive, but you also have like kind of more static backline and the Zenyatta and the Ana that are pretty diveable. Like, if you really wanted to try to roll out with something like the Wrecking Ball a little bit later, you do force Shanghai Dragons into a bit of an awkward spot, but with the Orisa, you can stay very pumped up on SPG and just try to play this defense from this high ground as well as just kind of the back left of the
point here too. You could also deal with Wu Chen once Wu Chen wants to get set up with Vilari and the Captive Sun here. They're gonna want to try to deal with the turret from Aid. Sticking to the Torburn too, of course. The Nano Boost is online so quickly from Iris. Nice retaliation with the Immortality field. They're needing some help here. Ganam Jin prioritizes Aid, and now the rest of the Shanghai Dragons being enabled. Love the backup that Viper was able to get there from Fate, but that did leave Isu vulnerable here. Still, the number advantage isn't fair for the Shanghai Dragons, so just trying to clean up Milgaru off to the side route here before claiming this payload.
So one of the nice things about the comp that Shanghai Dragons is running is that the Zenyatta with that Orb of Discord is able to amplify so much damage that, you know, Viper can get much cleaner dashes. Those are really easy takedowns, as well as Isu just not only being able to shred through the shields and also but he was even able to soak up his damage, but also just kind of helping to chunk down targets faster as well. That's you know, also Gangnam Jin, pretty good shot. Pretty good shot. I always love watching that Zenyatta play, especially with the volleys coming through. Nice easy capture here for Shanghai Dragons.
always love watching Ganamjin. He's already got that trans online ready here too. We talked about the Captain Sun online from Chan. They already have that high ground. Jay also has that window to control even more space up here. They're going to get contested by the Shanghai Dragons to claim that space.
Oh,
Viper though does have that blade and he's waiting here for the opportunity. Yeah, you mentioned the Bastion ult, which just completely displaced SPG from here. If they want to just try to see where the rest of Shanghai Dragons are trying to rotate, but they see they're just backing up for right now, maybe waiting while Viper's on the other side.
Yeah, that Bastion ult is the perfect tool to pull SPG off of this high ground. If you want to try and use that, so you can force SPG into a position where they're playing in a room that Viper is able to get firm control of with that Dragon Blade. Shanghai Dragons are already just kind of wrapping down where there's the Bastion ult. Where's it going?
Oh, tries to force them and funnel them into the line of sight of Viper to easily get that blade. But Hunjay was trying to run away from Viper. He can't run for long. Only so much that Immortality Field could do when you're staring at the face of that Genji blade. SPG still playing a little split up here. Zuchan tries to get away. Gets some healing from Aldo here too. He has that visor ready. But with Fate activating the Primal, just deleting the turret and sending the rest of SPJ right by that second point. It's just a matter of time before SPJ now regroup and manage to contest the points.
Well, the visor is going to be a great way to do that. Shanghai Dragons have to scatter away, but that's an easy ultimate on the attacking side. Just head away.
Also has a Terror Surge. Seeing how they want to do this with Shanghai Dragons, just playing much more passively by the back. Oh, everybody gets a taste of the Terror Surge with the follow-up from Hunjay and Aldo. This is my high ground now, taking Fate for a spin, literally, and sending the Shanghai Dragons to reset.
Big reset here, and that is a sizable amount of time now off of Shanghai Dragons' bank. And that cart is in such an awkward position now for them to be able to approach because SPG not only get a chance to reset on this high ground, but the way that Shanghai Dragons will need to be able to use those mobility cooldowns to get access leaves them very vulnerable to actually just taking a ton of damage. So watch how Fate is going to try to navigate this Viper as well to try to dash through the team, but SPG are playing far enough back that there's a response to whoever tries to access this high ground.
Shanghai Dragons do have that nano boost though. He does have that window. Very similar setup to the first team fight that we saw when Dragons had made their way by that car wash. Delete the pylon. We're gonna have to wait for some of that extra healing for right now. About 12 seconds as Iris once again just waiting. Viper's about to get that blade, which is going to be the wing con that Shanghai Dragons want to work into. With the way that SPG are playing spread apart though, here comes that window that we mentioned. Kisu just getting melted. Wu-Chan taking the opportunity right afterwards, following up with Myogaru. Here comes that blade though, the nano blade coming through to fruition as Viper gets taken out. Because look who's to the skies, it's Wu-Chan with the Captive Sun, but still lost out on 3 from SPJ. Hunjay and Wu-Chan are still right here, but it gets that extra pressure that the support can put down before regrouping with the rest of SPJ.
SPG has so many ults online too. Like for sub 1 minute territory, you're looking at the Molten Core again. Just layer that down right at the end of this point. And while Hisu gets a chance to use this Bastion ult, there are a lot of hiding places here for SPG to be able to take this.
Oh, Terracers? Ganamjin holding onto that trance though, helping Shanghai Dragons reset completely. Sin Prisa now having to be careful as Myogaru literally gets melted down. Still surviving here. Wu-Chan helping him. Hunjay right there through the visor. It's too much damage. You have to worry about the Molten Core, and while everybody is grouped up in the side here, fighting for the high ground on top of it all, Shanghai Dragons now able to retaliate off that Primal. It cost Fate's life, and now they have less than 15 seconds to get to that second checkpoint.
There's nothing easy about being able to approach his carts either. Iris doesn't have the nano boost online. Maybe you're able to get that up quickly, but Fate still isn't there to be able to bolster up the front. But there's the nano onto Viper. I can't get the Dragon Blade though.
They have it online here, the nano boost, but can't even get put into position here. The nanos already ran out, and Fate gets done from that javelin originally here too. Too much damage output from Myogaru, who's been able to take out Viper on top of it all. Wu-Chan goes down, but nobody left on the point from the Shanghai Dragons. It was too much pressure. Ganamjin would have died instantly the moment he dropped from that bridge.
Score
Absolutely. Like, that was just very clean control there coming in from Sin Prisa Gaming. The defense looked very strong. Like, despite the fact that Shanghai Dragons had great ways to actually just access, like, the way that Sin Prisa Gaming played that made it more difficult to actually use down. This Terror Surge was also very nice. It wasn't even the Terror Surge that ended up actually getting these final blows, but it was about how Milguru actually controlled that space. And even on the second Terror Surge we saw following that, like 17 HP Anti still able to get the better of Gangnam Jin in that corner. That Orisa has been so strong, and there's no wonder why teams are trying to lean into it.
That's me right now. We got that donut. That's me looking at Orisa, making her way into the meta. Always so exciting. But also, me looking at Gangnam Jin, who isn't stuck playing Lucio, trying their best on the Zen here. It's a little difficult, though, with the way that SPG have just been playing so spread out. Also very quick to disengage. I love the comps seeping through for this team to make that awareness, but also the follow-up opportunity. Big plays being done by Milguru even at the very end of that push.
For sure. Milguru has just had a really nice match so far. I feel like it's showing a lot of diversity as well with the heroes he's able to play. We saw the Wrecking Ball, the Reinhardt. Now we get a chance to have seen the Orisa in that last round, but it's back to the Wrecking Ball, be able to play a bit more of this dive style. Hyunjae is going to lean into Brig right away. We originally saw that Baptiste pick to be able to stand by the Alari, but the Brig has been so impactful to be able to stop Viper's Genji. No reason to try to change that up when it's worked so far. But 8 Sombra, I mean, that's a lot of pressure.
Oh, they wanted to try to open up something cheeky. Get shut down immediately afterwards. Sticking through the Sombra, though. Despite that attempt failing. The way that Wu Chan's also just taking a different off angle while all those on the high ground. SPG just falling back to what we had seen in the meta before the update. Sticking to the Sombra and just race through. Ooh, nice follow-up though. They find Gangnam Jin right there too, alongside with Aldo and Milguru. It was the opportunity that Aid was able to set up, splitting that attention. It was a failed attempt the first time around, but now Milguru and Aldo can get into position, tries to get the follow-up with the dive opportunity. Well, Fate is the insurance trying to help out Iris. It wasn't enough. Ends up working here for this point alone to get this payload moving, and they get progress with 2 minutes and less than 30 seconds on the clock.
Our Shanghai Dragons are thinking about going in for a retouch, but they only have 3 members available, and they're also hacked.
Oh.
Despite the fact that Wu Chen goes down, I just feel like there's too much firepower here for SPG to be able to take it. Now they're gonna get staggered. They're gonna get staggered.
Migaru's insane right now. He is having way too much fun now. It's time to find Iris, send him back to the spawn room doors, and there's also so much space that Sin Prisa could work with. Now they can claim the high ground before Shanghai Dragons could get set up.
They claim the high ground. They're gonna claim bodies. That's 5 ults on the board. And Aid on the Sombra, like, has had no fear. You know, sometimes you see Sombras, they get pressured into using their translocate really early, but this time around, like, I've seen Aid just kind of square up to Fate and be like, aha, you can't do anything about that or this.
Oh yeah, or this EMP. Have one of these for the support lineup. The Shanghai Dragons backline deleted after that. Getting some deja vu out here. We also have 4 ultimates online for SPG, so it wasn't even an expensive fight here for them.
No, like, they just had to use the EMP to be able to open this up. That was a full team wipe, and now you get a chance to look at Milguru just placing those mines down on top of that checkpoint. And then what do you have to do?
Might be able to activate it, but Uchen finds Yusu with incredibly low. The nano boost onto Gangnam Jin, who has the rally ready. Shanghai Dragons now noticing Wuchen in the sky with the captive sun, finds Iris, which is going to be big. Goes down right after having the nano boost originally here too. Rally activated from Gangnam Jin. Viper has that pulse bomb. Fate is just trying to find a different angle because SPG have just been non-stop thus far. The failure just to send Fate back just slightly, but the rest of the Dragons are at least here to give him some backup.
Shanghai Dragons coming back with Cassidy as well as Yusu has made that swap. Viper though with a nice pulse bomb. Okay, that was it. Shanghai Dragons now get a chance to actually stop that momentum. It really has been non-stop here as SPG just having the run of their life right now. Now Shanghai Dragons, they have so much to work against. Like, they're up a creek without a paddle, and that's 2.5 minutes.
Yisu and Viper saying that they've had enough. The clutch at the very end right there too, while maintaining the high ground. That was a team fight that they needed to desperately take right there, seeing how SPG was so close to that shiny box of victory. Migadu was about to get those minefields too, and we've seen the way that he's able to utilize it, just controlling so much space to help enable Aiden, although the multi-core still isn't online just yet here. Hisu closes that Deadeye. More time wasted away from SPG's attempt to push. Waiting around this corner, though, waiting for the opportunity.
Yeah, like, just go for the zoning, and then also, like, the mag grenade can be really nice to also help the chunk down to get that extra DPS online. But it's it. SPG are ready.
Dadabu's come in right afterwards here as Outburst just trying to send them back here from Kuchan. Has the Captive Sun ready. Talk about the Deadeye. He still hasn't used it just yet, but here comes the minefields from Migaru. Getting sent into position while Hondo gets taken out. Number advantage already in favor for the Shanghai Dragons. Can Wuchan get something done? The Deadeye was being saved to counter Wuchan and his Captive Sun. Completely negates the outcome of what that ult could bring for SPG. They take care of the healing pylon on top of the fact that they find aid here. SPG staying alive for as long as possible, specifically Migaru, as the Immortality Field helps restabilize him. The window to give him some extra damage, but the pressure still isn't enough. Nobody's dealt with Viper. Iris is getting away with murder, and the Shanghai Dragons get to live another day with less than a minute for SPG to claim that box.
Oh, that rally from Gangnam-jin as well just seals the deal on this defense once again for Shanghai Dragons, and that's going to be even more time off of this clock for Sin Prisa. 50 seconds left. They still have the Molten Core as well as the Pulse Bomb. Guru is actually going to switch off of the Wrecking Ball as well to go over to the Orisa. That's just a really nice way to just start walking forward and trying to, you know, keep making some progress, just 1 inch, 1 step forward at a time. But Molten Core first. Final fight.
And they destroyed him. Oh my, Hisu going crazy.
Hisu?
Off the nano boost on top of it. You get some damage, you get some damage. Headshot after headshot here, just trying to do all the damage he can with Viper getting the follow-up onto Migaru. And when they needed it the most here, less than 15 seconds on the clock, and SPG only really have that pulse bomb to work with.
Here's the Pulse Bomb. They had to get into a position for this, but Aldo's going to have to be forced to touch as the fastest character on the team. Overtime is activated, but now Aldo's going to have to fight a way in, but it's Viper that strikes first.
Viper with a huge pulse bomb pick. Fate has primal. The survivability is more in favor for the Shanghai Dragons here. Isolates Aldo in the corner, who cannot utilize that pulse bomb. Migaru is next to fall. The number advantage in favor for the Shanghai Dragons. You can't touch Hyundai as they go down, and the Shanghai Dragons stay alive in this series, taking map number 2.
Shanghai Dragons get a chance to win on their map pick as well. Midtown going their way after just some really nice positioning and being able to work with an El Clasico for them. The Winston dive, once again being able to make a statement for them. And it's all about that practicing comfort. We are seeing a lot of teams try to play around with the new shiny hero, the tools that are available with this new patch, but Shanghai Dragons, they just want to kind of play clean, play classic.
Even with the comfort that we got to see Hisu popping up on that Cassidy, Viper having way more progress with the Pulse Bomb. That's going to be map number 2 in the books. After this break, we got map number 3. We are moving on to Flashpoint. Welcome back, everyone. We got a tied series on our hands. We got Shanghai Dragons versus Sin Prisa Gaming. Shanghai Dragons just took Midtown on their own map pick, and now we are moving on to map number 3 on Flashpoint, where Sin Prisa will be able to take us to the map of their choice.
Sin Prisa, Flashpoint. Sin Prisa has already come out of the gates super strong. Midtown was already very close. I feel like it was just kind of down to the wire of being a few more ultimates online there for Shanghai Dragons to be able to work with, but at the end of the day, it has still been a very close fight between these two teams. And with Sin Prisa Gaming now being able to have the onus to pick a map, I'm really excited where they're going to take us.
I'm sweating a little bit, Necro. Maybe a little too close for our comfort. It wasn't until Houston and Viper really made the comeback here. Shanghai Dragons make me feel like I traveled back in time to our previous meta. Coming through, we saw the Tracer, the Sombra, the Winston, getting to see the fans showing their support here too in the crowd. But it's nice to see the difference of approach from these different teams and how they're trying to take part of the new meta and where their strengths lie.
It's been so fun to watch that develop, and I feel like still like it's so difficult to actually make any sort of educated guess even about what these teams are going to run, because everybody has such a different approach to how they actually want to try to navigate this meta. I mean, we heard that as well during sadly the limited question time we ended up getting to have in our last match interview, but everybody is still trying to figure this out, and Saravasa is another one of those unique factors that you still have to get a game plan for.
Saravasa has such pretty colors too. This map in general is just really gorgeous, and I'm so happy that we get to take a look at how it plays out for these teams again, Necra. And it's interesting because in our last series, we got to see New Junk City. That was the first time I actually was able to see New Junk City. I was very happy because so far I've only been able to play on Saravasa. I don't know if that map just happens to be attracted and just magnetized towards my queue up, but now getting to see it again this time around in a series that has been pretty close thus far, it's going to be interesting to see how these different points open up and how these teams take control.
Yeah, agreed. I feel like there's still so much to be able to discover about this map, and especially when you have the random element of Flashpoint just randomly selecting one of the extra 4 points that you have after the center one. There are so many strategies you can still come up with to be able to prepare yourself for making those big adjustments based on where that next flashpoint moves. It's going to be more of the same here for Shanghai Dragons. They've been leaning into this Fate Winston for the entirety of the series so far, and Sin Prisa Gaming also going to be coming out of the gates with their own version of the dive.
Point being market in the middle here too, ready, seeing how some of these teams try to navigate through. It looks like Shanghai Dragons already taking very aggressive position through this choke, which could be difficult to navigate through too. There's different entry points into market, but once this point gets unlocked, it's gonna be so difficult to try to flip it once you already have control, because it goes by so fast. Kisu already planting his feet on the point here, while Milgaru is gonna be sticking to that ball. Just gonna be able to retaliate immediately afterwards, stall for as long as possible. He's able to get Iris first, and Fate being the next to go down. That's 3 out for Dragons, a number advantage going in favor for SPG.
Sin Prisa Gaming have always been able to win these fights super quickly, and as well just be able to get that first pick just to start opening up these fights. It's happened in both of these previous maps, and especially as you mentioned in Flashpoint, where you do have such a big advantage from being able to capture that first Flashpoint first. This is already going to start racking up that percentage so quickly. And with the Torbjorn, you can set up the turret already, as well as just all these off angles. Nogaru already sneaky in the back.
That's what I feel like when it comes to Flashpoint. Lucio and Ball individually just have so much strength. Ball can get away with so much poke pressure from afar, being a nuisance, splitting your attention. The attempt at throwing out the pulse bomb fails for although here. Still finally finalizes that pick onto Fate though. Dealing so much damage. Unfortunately for Fate, he's been one of the first to go down constantly in a lot of these initial team fights.
It's rough because when you look at kind of just healing per second, CL Kiriko as a duo is not necessarily one that you would consider to have that high healing output value. In comparison to something like the Baptiste, so it has a little bit more of that first healing. So Fate does have to be a little bit more careful in terms of diving in too quickly. And at this point as well, we are going to see a retest come through, but with that Kitsune Rush.
2 controlling so much space here. Falling so low is the Shanghai Dragons. 4 out. It's only got Namjin who can't even use a sound barrier, but that's fine. You hold on to it. You wait to contest for that next point that gets unlocked randomly.
Sin Prisa Gaming do get control of the very first center point, and now we have to see where that next flash point is going to move. We're going to end up actually going ahead and get a chance to look at Temple as the next flash point. And so Sin Prisa Gaming already making such a quick rotation over there. Shanghai Dragons now have to try to find a way to make it in, but Wu-Chen already has this nice off angle. Look how much damage Shanghai Dragons have already taken.
There's so much pressure coming out here. Shanghai Dragons looking to re-engage now here too with the blade and the sound barrier. It finds success from Viper to get 8 out from the equation. DJ's gonna meet him right afterwards. Wu-Chen is able to retaliate here and with the Captive Sun and find Kisu. Putting in a good amount of pressure here. Viper and Fate heal right back up to date, and Migaru still being a nuisance to their side, managing to roll away, just allowing Shanghai Dragons to take this point for once before they try to re-engage with the whole team regrouped.
Now Shanghai Dragons getting a chance to try and capture one of these flash points, and they have so much to work with. You look at something like that tactical visor, to be able to shut down the entry routes that they go for. But Milguru with a first draw here onto Gangnam Jin, that does take away the rotation ability from Dragons.
Was helped a little bit too by Aldo here, but MJ being the first to get taken out as Faye had popped Primal at the very end there after losing out. And Gangnam Jin is going to be big. They still get to delay the fight, and they still delay SPG trying to take this point here as the rush is active and furious. Nice cycle to these ultimates and economy that Dragons are working with. Backing up just for right now here too. It's going to be SPG waiting to see what they can do to approach. They're about to get the minefield, looking for as well as Wu-Chen having that Captive Sun ready.
Yeah, so the minefields and the Captive Sun might actually be a nice combo here. You also have the burst damage coming through for something like the Pulse Bomb, and so SPG actually have a great shot at being able to get back into this.
Activated already to close out any entry points, putting in some extra damage like we saw in that first point originally here too. Overtime ticking away before it's flipped in favor for Sin Prisa. Recall being used up, although struck his head on that pillar. Nobody saw anything before backing away. He's safe right alongside King J and Fu-Chan. Here comes a minefield there too to just block out another entry point. Become more of a nuisance on top of it as Kisu is set all the way off the map. Unfortunate. Migaru happy to make those comms, while forcing the Shanghai Dragons just funneled inside of this room non-stop with the aggression.
It has just been absolutely non-stop here, and especially after SPG has been able to get that flashpoint control back, it's actually looking like they might be able to just bring us to a match point flashpoint here. Like, especially if Aldo can get in there and try to use this pulse bomb quickly. Sadly, Wu-Chen can get away, but it's opening the door for SPG to draw even more damage.
Well, Viper and Fate were so fixated on Wu-Chen here. Meanwhile, in the back, it's going to be Aiden and Aldo who get their own individual picks. Although with that pulse bomb onto Kisu, which deletes the visor from contesting onto this point, here comes SPG now, making the rotation right back. They gave some space over the Shanghai Dragons because they got those individual picks, but having to reclaim it to avoid that overtime to keep down further. They're about to get to 99% after being at such a huge disadvantage.
Wow. Look at how Milguru was able to control that space. Shanghai Dragons were in a position to go back in and get the recontest, especially after giving up that control to Sin Prisa Gaming, having about like 12% remaining. Now you're in this position where Sin Prisa have brought us to a flashpoint match point. They only need one more. And we take a look at where we are heading next. It is going to be Ruins. This is a very, very small flashpoint on this map. And it's a lot of enclosed space. It's not necessarily a great opportunity for you to just kind of keep your head. You have to try to play around this point.
What's interesting too is that Ruins isn't very far away from Temple, so immediately as we were able to make that quick rotation and the visor is getting called in Kisu, SPG have so much to work with. Aside from the molten core tries to run away after Aldo gets the stick with the pulse bomb. They were grouped up together and it was a 2-for-1 deal here, fighting Namjin and Fate. Fate could come back in with the primal, but this is still extra progress that SPG is getting away with here on this third point.
SPG has been able to win these team fights one after another, and now that you have the Wrecking Ball Mines too, with, again, one of the smaller flashpoints on this map, just layer it on top, set yourself up for that success. Because see now why Sin Prisa Gaming wanted to bring us here. They have practiced this with the Wrecking Ball, and there's the minefield.
Again, Migaru here. To avoid the rush, he's going back and forth like he is in a bowling alley. Harassing the backline here. Eerie's back to health. Fate falling incredibly low, taking so much damage. Literally one, but he can't get away in time. Wuchan's gonna be able to find him, and he's about to get the Captain Sun online for this fight. Activating immediately after utilizing the outburst here. Tries to find the mark as he finds Gangnam Jin, and although finds Hisu on the ground on top of it all. Watch out as Iris also gets taken out, and it looks like SPG take another team fight here. It's gonna be so difficult to now take the point after they've already passed 65%.
Yeah, the ebb and flow has now put Sin Prisa Gaming into a position where Shanghai Dragons have to make a very, very fast rotation. May not even be able to get in as a full team of 5, as although is looking for that entry route. Try to nail somebody in the back, just so you can get down somebody like Gangnam Jin. That is a major source of healing down.
Overtime ticking away in favor for Sin Prisa here. Viper activates that blade. Iris goes out, but he is able to find A here. Huge opportunity for the Dragons to turn things around with the overclock here from Kisu. Migaru falls low, manages to get away for right now. They'll give that space over to the Dragons, and Migaru has got such a good record right now. He has yet to die thus far with all the damage output that he's been able to put down so far.
And that's what you want to see from a Wrecking Ball. It's all about your own self-sustain while also trying to get yourself out of sticky situations. Migaru also has the Wrecking Ball lines up again. As we get a chance to look at Shanghai Dragons trying to match that percentage, they need to win this fight to keep themselves in this map. Shanghai Dragons have to win this next one, and they don't have a lot left in the tank.
Oh wow, the multi-core as well as the minefield. Where do you jump on this point here without feeling the pain and the pressure? Overtime ticking away, but here comes the Shanghai Dragons. They've called aid, and Migaru is the opportunity to take care of the minefield if they can. Ice Wuchan, who takes the guys here really quick with the Captain Sun. Can any magic get done here as Viper dashes to Wuchan? Here on Temple, you have that limited sky space. You have that roof that you have to worry about. You could work around the windows, but there's not many places you could go here too. Shanghai Dragons living off that line of taking that third point.
Okay, Shanghai Dragons have bought themselves another life in this map. Eventually be able to take this away from Sin Prisa at their pick, but now we are going over to the next flashpoint. It is going to be Garden. As you can see, SPG start to get set up there already, and it's just about the southern half of the map now. Garden and Palace are the only ones left. Garden 2, like such a beautiful point to play around with, but a lot of open space to work with.
Oh wow, Soundbearer doesn't come in fast enough to help out the Iris there, but still was able to activate the rush right before, feeling the pressure with the rally from Hung Jae. 3G, take care of Fate. Hisu Viper coming in as Wuchan finishing off what is left of that backline from Gangnam Jin, and now they're able to claim that point first.
Claiming it again already, like it's just continuing to work with that momentum that they can generate, especially being able to make it to that point first. But Shanghai Dragons have a lot of scrap in them. That's why we ended up seeing them able to take that third flashpoint, and they're still going to be able to stay in this one. They have ultimates now to spare too. You got the Primal Rage for Fate that helps to buy just so much time. And you could also kind of throw yourself in this minefield if you want to try to blow that too, as Migaru's going to lay that down.
Tries to cut off the rotation point here too. Still being that nuisance, putting in some extra pressure, although can try to go in for a follow-up here. Zoo jumps off from the side window, does have that overclock. He's been doing such a good job of putting in a lot of damage output, and as I say that, and as he activates the overclock, gets shut down by Abe. Viper still fights Wuchan here. Hung Jae goes down. Shanghai Dragons have the number advantage. Took a rest real quick while just helping Viper get enabled, but is it gonna be enough? With although getting that post on pick, no health pack for you, Viper, although it's here to clean up on aisle 3.
Although on fire at this point, and that's gonna usually do it. They can come in and touch, but it's already 99% in overtime.
Actually, insane overtime taking away while Hisu managed to make his way back. Gets that charge shot onto, although this is gonna be enough right here too. Wuchan does have that Captain Sun. Just waiting to see if the follow-up opportunity is there with Migaru as well. Shanghai Dragons are able to reclaim the point. They were given some space by SPG just right beforehand because they got the rally on top of the Captain Sun now activated by Wuchan. Soundbearer was being held onto just for a moment like this, with Migaru now having the minefield. It's going to be able to help control so much space and try to negate some extra damage that this rush can be given by Eurus. Viper gets taken out here, and the Shanghai Dragons now playing as a 4-man team. Gonna tie that with Hung Jae going down next. One by one, though, they get the trade-off. It's such a long fight here, too, and the overclock was built up just as quickly by Kisu.
And the longer that this team fight goes, the more pressure that Shanghai Dragons actually have to be able to take this point as well. Will they be able to get a reverse sweep here? It's starting to look really likely. The Shanghai Dragons now are going to be in a position where this could also be final fight for this flashpoint, and then we have to go to the 5th and final. Fate with the Primal Rage could just body block this point, as Sin Prisa Gaming are going to try to get back into this one, but the Molten Core as well as the Pulse Bomb, they got to get these in now. That was a huge step back here for Sin Prisa.
I love the looks that we've seen so far from Flashpoint. It's been so much back and forth for so many of the teams in the series that we've had thus far. The Primal is ready here from Fate. Overtime ticking away as Shanghai Dragons even things out. And Miyagaru not going to be involved in this fight. The Molten Core needs to be the saving grace, but it doesn't look like it can be enough here. With although an 8 going down, Shanghai Dragons are bringing us to another point here for Flashpoint. Next, we're moving on to Palace.
Palace is going to be the final one. And like, so exciting to see all the high ground that you can play around with. If you're able to get set up on the ledge, like Hisu might be able to just kind of nest up there, try to grab those Sojourn shots. It does feel really nice to just have those sight lines. You can see Fate as well, like so many corners just to be able to jump around. There's not a whole lot of ways either that Sin Prisa Gaming can actually surprise you. A lot of great defensive positions. Shanghai Dragons getting here first, also with 4 ultimates to spare. It looks very, very good for them.
Able to navigate around this high ground here too. Just playing a slightly split up. Miyagaru going to help heal Hung Jae as Wu Chen takes the sky. Once again, activating the Captive Sun. It's a Sound Barrier just waiting for them to answer right back. They had used the Primal here too, but again, it's SVG just playing around, just waiting for the opportunity to re-engage, wait out these ultimates. The Dragons have already used 2 of them.
Dragons have already used so many ultimates, and now you're looking at a position of just trying to continue to have those eco pushes. You've got the mines down, but now what is the next ultimate you can get out of the Dragon's pocket? You have to be able to survive that with the rally.
Oh, Fate can't get away. He's going to be able to claim him. He's here as Viper. Does have that play. With Isu going down, the minefield from Miyagaru is going to be able to negate so much space away from Shanghai Dragons. We want to hold on to that for right now. But what's good here is that Shanghai Dragons have been stalling long enough on this point to delay SVG from taking it from them. So they're already set up for nearly 60%.
Oh my goodness. This is so back and forth. Especially when you're running these dives, it is so chaotic to see where these team fights are going to actually take place. Look at how far forward Shanghai Dragons is going to have to try to play this because SPG is pushing them off of the point. Oh, with the Molten Core 2, you can see just how far back Wu and 8 are actually going to try to play from, just so they know that they can nail Shanghai Dragons as soon as they walk in. Oh, Fate is already so low, too.
Ooh. Alright, manages to just disengage right now. Here comes the blade coming in from Viper. The Molten Core to answer right back. Delays that space away from Viper and the blade. Good answer back here from SPG. With an ult for ult, and the Pulse Bomb unfortunately didn't get anything for all though. But the rest of Shanghai Dragons are so low in this side room before restabilizing. Ganam Jin finding Lunjay there. The sustainability is now off the table for Sin Prisa. They're about to near 99%, but this is the opportunity for Shanghai Dragons to flip this if they can take care of Miyagaru, stalling on the point long enough. Although follows up, and so does Aid, and the Shanghai Dragons cannot contest any longer. Taking it all the way down to the wire here on Flashpoint, all the way down to our 5th point, Necrum. We see Sin Prisa come out on top.
Shanghai Dragons almost got the reverse sweep. They played that 3rd and 4th point so well, especially knowing that they were at the deficit of not only not having captured those flashpoints first, but also just having to claw their way back from already being on a match point. This has been such a back and forth series, and we still have 4 maps to go.
Actually insane to see so far. Map number 4, we're going to be moving on to push on the other side of this break. Welcome back, everybody. Sin Prisa Gaming currently sit at match point versus Shanghai Dragons. Necro, so far, our Tier 2 teams have been feasting today, and they're looking to continue pushing it to the very end. We got map number 4 underway, and we are moving on to a push map.
Yeah, I mean, we had 2 contenders versus contenders matches to start up our day, and then we saw O2 Blast be able to take down the charge, and yeah, we've got one more where we've got Sin Prisa Gaming on a match point already, and the last train is gone. They're leaving the sign. They had to be able to go to Central Station in order to get home this time.
Unfortunately, sorry to tell you, that may not be happening out here.
Yeah. No, the trains are gone. It's over.
Oh, it's already done
late.
for. Oh, well,
yeah, it's over.
Oh no, that's unfortunate. Well then, you know what? You gotta stay through for the rest of the series. Make do with what you got right in front of you with some quality entertainment here in the Overwatch League. We just saw Flashpoint go in favor to SPG, where it was incredibly close, honestly. Shanghai Dragons were bringing it down to the wire. But I just gotta see, Mugaru is on another level when it comes to that ball pick. He's shown already a lot of flexibility, even going through with the Orisa earlier on. But between the Orisa, the ball, the Ryan, we're seeing that ball put in the work. But we are making our moves now next to Esperanza.
It's so exciting to see that as well, because there's often very few times you see somebody that's able to come in on the ball but also be able to show you a lot of other looks. Like, to be able to get really good at wrecking ball, that hero has such a high skill ceiling. You need to know your rollouts, you need to know how to be able to work against multiple different compositions, and also protect yourself from things like stuns or hacks, ways that would be able to shut off your ability to actually be useful. So the fact that Mugaru is able to make that work is so impressive. I have been blown away by that, and maybe Esperanza is another opportunity for Mugaru to show us that. But this is Shanghai Dragons' pick, and this is what they need to be able to get back into the series.
We could expect, though, certain pieces of SPG to probably not change up. I do like the space that SPG is able to claim between the minefield and the molten core side by side. It's so much space that Shanghai Dragons have to worry about. But seeing that we are going on to Esperanza, they have different routes that they could take to deal with the bot and then try to take high ground if necessary. So I do like this pick here for Dragons.
I do too, especially if you're gonna roll out with something like a Cassidy. Like, the magnetic grenade was that kit, I feel like could be very useful against SPG. If you're able to nail that down onto literally any of these targets, like maybe you actually force out the mortality field, that would be like the absolute best case scenario. Or you just end up getting a straight pick just to finish off the low health target. So Cassidy does provide a lot of value here. And there aren't too many actual heroes at this point that SPG is going to be sending after that particular DPS. That's also nice. Just a long range damage.
On top of that, and dealing with the Tracer, and dealing with the ball that Mugaru is going to be rolling out, that Deadeye also could create so much space to also counter Chan whenever that Captain Sun is online. And Captain Sun does send Yari up in the air. Viper is able to fight Mugaru now. Shanghai Dragons have basically nailed down what SPG are going to roll out with, and let's see if they're going to be able to continuously roll through with this bot.
I thought the Brigitte choice is super nice. I mean, we ended up seeing the Onnit with the Zenyatta paired with it, and while that's really nice to be able to get that damage down quickly, I also believe that the Brigitte in this situation is just so much better. Mugaru, you can shield bash, same thing with all those Tracer, and just be able to shut down their mobility, make them vulnerable to being cleaned up by someone like Kisu or even Viper. So, fantastic stuff for Shanghai Dragons to identify that that's a key piece that they're missing in order to be able to take these fights a little bit better. But they'll have to get past this neutral point, and that's been very good.
The Sun here in the Nana boost from Yisu, he activates the Deadeye for the reason that we were expecting here, but the Immortality Field! Wow, the spacing for that to allow Wuchen to just use it as insurance just in case to draw back on. If that Deadeye was already ready. The window next from SPG, the next attempt to stay on the high ground here while also giving the support to Aid, who's got that multi-core ready, sending it right through with a huge anti getting heated from Urus. That space has been fought, and Gundam Jin is looking to retaliate. Yes, although gets that hold-up pick up to Kisu, who's been a problem being on that Cassidy. We saw the rally from Dragons before. Playing a little split up though, as SPG are just trying to rotate around. The health vector's right there, but although doesn't prioritize it, just was in the line of sight of Viper.
Shanghai Dragons are on a roll now, too. They're going to be able to get so close to that checkpoint and potentially even capture it at this point. Myoguru is an incredibly fast hero. They'll be able to get the rollout. You can already see him waiting in the wings for any other type of reinforcement to come out, too. But no, doesn't even want to attempt it. There's nobody else close enough by. Sin Prisa Gaming are just going to get set up right past that checkpoint to try to get that pincer movement in. But checkpoint being unlocked is huge here for Dragons. They're taking already an insurmountable lead over SPG.
Coming in here, Migaru gets put to sleep, gets hit with an anti. Talk about all the answers Dragons has after making the adjustment that they needed from the previous few maps onto Migaru and the ball threat that he's been bringing out. Immediately with the swap, I agree with this. Swapping over to the Orisa, although swapping over to the Soldier, something that we've been seeing much more commonly in our last few series of the day.
Soldier's been really nice just to try to get some mobility on the board, but Myoguru too. Yeah, like you get the Soldier, you get the Orisa in now just to be able to continue to inch forward, march this bot ever closer to your actual side of the field. But the damage has kind of already been done. Shanghai Dragons still have the nano boost to work with. Fate is able to put on so much more fight pressure if you do apply that to that Winston. Oh my gosh. Like, it's just going to be tough here for any of the players to actually try to get back into this without investing all the points.
Again, just waiting for the opportunity to find that Captain Sun, except Luchan here was able to capitalize off of finding Fate. Over on that side corridor here, it's going to be able to find Kisu, and that's the Dragons who used up that nano boost specifically for that reason. Kisu can try to capitalize off of that. Meanwhile, Luchan instead walked away with getting a quick 3K in that entire team fight. They could finally get some progress on this spot for the first time.
Okay, so already past the first hurdle of actually starting to get this under the bridge. The next one is going to be to just try to use these ultimates to find enough value to get this checkpoint unlocked as well. You did shut off those close spots for Shanghai Dragons, so it will be a little bit of time before they can come back, but Gundam Jin has the rally, which is a great way to be able to shut off the multi-core or even an amplification matrix to try to fight around.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's nice.
Right through a window originally there too. Takes care of Kisu, although has the visor ready. Gundam Jin has the rally. He also has the molten core while they hold on to this high ground. It's about getting the progress on this bot around that next choke. But the Shanghai Dragons playing right behind Migaru while he's so close to having that Terra Surge. It's going to be crucial to get to that next checkpoint.
Well, the next checkpoint is already going to be activated. There's no world where Shanghai Dragons come back in and try to contest this. And they still aren't even a whole team of 5 until the CDC actually just run right out of the spawn room doors. Very quickly now, the tides have turned. Sin Prisa Gaming, with the momentum and the wind behind their sails, is able to start walking through these picks. If all those able to get a Q1 rocket down, that opens the door to tremendous damage. Rally has to be used here to even kick things off here for Shanghai Dragons.
The rally was also used to help take care of that turret as Abe pops that molten core, clearing some space here too. Fate has the primal to reset, so survivability is there. Nano boost now put onto Viper, and here he is to clear the way. He's found 3 off this Dragon Blade after getting the dash reset from all though, and it's a clearance here, fighting the entire team of SPG. Fate had to deny that from Viper, but it's fine. Viper's going to be able to walk away with that 4K after contributing to that other 5th member too.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a winning blade right there. One of the reasons why we've seen Viper pick up this hero more often than not when it is meta viable. We're also going to see a bit of switch here too. So no more Cassidy coming up from Kisu. It's going to be the Ashe. Especially when the composition is a bit more fucked up. That thought damage coming through from the Dynamite is a really nice piece to have. Just to make things a little bit easier there for Viper to go and clean up some kind of dash and get those resets.
Some swap ups too here for the progress that SPG were able to already put in after finally maintaining control over the bot for the first time in the last minute or so. He's also going to be able to have that Bob as that extra body here, too. 3 ultimates online for SPG. Uchan does have that captive son. Also getting that healing pylon to help them out. And the turret on top of it. Having to shoot not just the turret, but the pylon on top of that is something that Shanghai Dragons need to focus on. And already clearing out the rest of the Dragons while getting that progress back going is going to set SPG up in the driver's seat and having the advantage for this progress.
Absolutely. You still have ultimates in the bank, and Fate just switching over to the Orisa. And that's going to be even more important to just have this head-to-head bash against each other. And that does set you back a lot in terms of the ultimate charge. You don't have that Terror Surge online. Terror Surge is not necessarily like the key ultimate in this matchup in particular, but that pick certainly is. Viper's already out of here. Sin Prisa Gaming are now staring down the barrel of just getting a full capture to complete the series. No way.
This is actually insane, the turnover that we've been seeing between both these teams throughout the course of the series. Dang, that's Javelin. I think Fate know where the business is when it comes to Migaru. Talked about having that surge ready here too. The nano boost on top of that. Viper has the blade ready to go in, but that's before Aid was able to find Gundam Jin and Hisu. It's a trade for trade as Buchan had popped up captive sub, but you can't run away from the skies from Viper, who's ready to dash right in your face. Faye able to follow up right afterwards, and the Shanghai Dragons making another swap here, looks like. Jin going right back over to the Baptiste. The team wipe, and this is what they needed for this team fight, to get the bot right back over to their side with this limited time back that's left.
Yeah, it's only a minute left. You get a chance to walk this bot over the midway point, but not before SPG are able to come out of those closer spawns. Now you shut them off, but this is going to be 3 team fights in a row, really, that Dragons are going to have to win neutral around that first checkpoint, and then they still have to get this cart rolling. That's tough when Aldo's going to get the first kill.
It is an 8, it's Aldo. We've been able to prioritize Viper as that first pick here. Gen next, getting Gundam Jin. Big no immortality field to delete, or rather help you out through that Terror Surge too. Everybody was grouped up there. It was a feast for SPG to capitalize off of it. Now you got less than 20 seconds on the clock, while SPG already have that advantage.
This is so difficult to come back from at this point. I don't want to call it over for the fact that there is already a 70-meter differential, as well as just the ability to get a quick pick. Like, SPG has been fighting them more often than not. You do take down the Molten Core, but the job is not done. Dragons still have so much more work to do.
Overtime ticking away, but with the Bob there, SPG really quick to disengage just for right now. Right behind this next choke, hanging out right next to the Bob here too, or rather the bot here. The Bob's cousin at the same time. And ending up behind the window. Having the high ground here is going to be able to claim Gundam Jin as Fate. Also having the Terror Surge themselves, but the rest of SPG just playing a little split up. The Terror Surge pulls in Aldo, and right behind him, it's going to be Iris. He's been doing such a good job of surviving for as long as possible, and as I say that, Uchan is able to find him right after. Shanghai Dragons have the number of advantage despite that, without having the nano boost. Uchan coming in, following up with the Molten Core. Nobody from the Shanghai Dragons touch the bot, and Sin Prisa take the entire series, our final series of the day on Esperanza.
Every Overwatch League team got spoiled today. It was all about our Tier 2 contenders teams being able to bring it to them. Look at how happy Sin Prisa Gaming will get this point as well. They have prepped so hard for this. One of the things I have loved about this season is the fact that these contenders teams get a chance to showcase their talents on a bigger stage against these heavy-hitting Overwatch League teams. That is a huge win for them, though, and now Sin Prisa Gaming get a chance to move up a ring on the ladder to be able to go face off against the Seoul Dynasty tomorrow. That is a powerhouse team.
Actually, so excited to see how tomorrow's matches play out. Before we move on to that, we have to give credit where credit is due. Player of the match is going to go in favor to Migaru right there after the performance and the flexibility that we were able to see throughout the course of the series.
What's exciting about Milguru as a player is they actually don't have that much competitive experience. They played on a smaller Tier 2 team towards the back half of 2021 and then continued through as actually just a substitute for Sin Prisa Gaming before making their way onto the main roster that you are seeing today. Fantastic stuff as well, not just showcasing their signature hero of the Wrecking Ball, but also showing us other looks as we saw the Arisa, as well as even the Reinhardt kicking things off on North Peninsula.
What I like is the quick adjustment, not just from each round or map in general, but like we saw at the very last map actually, where we saw the swap over to the Arisa, had a lot more outcome out of the shatter in that first round here too that we got to see on AP from Migaru versus Fate. There's a lot of moments where Migaru was just being cheeky. We got to see the boop of Takisu hitting the wall right at the same time. On top of it, the Terror Surge here on the high ground here too. Lots of great highlight looks from Migaru to work together with the rest of Sin Prisa.
And especially with this meta that we are starting to see develop still in its baby form, we have a lot more to discover about how these teams will find the power level cap of each of these positions. You need to have that flexibility in the game, not only just because it's Overwatch 2, there's only one of you now, but also because of the fact that each map is going to require something a bit different. So we saw like the Wrecking Ball into the Arisa more often than not, and that felt really good watching Migaru have to flex in between even just so uniquely different styles of game in one map.
And how it works so well into the strength of this team in general, whether it be the minefields controlling extra space alongside the molten core from 80 stuck to the core basically the whole time here. Terror Surge at the very end. Well, we saw at one point he was able to pull in, although at the very end of the map, but SPG, they played so well. Let's jump into an interview with this team to see how they're feeling after that dub.
승리 축하드립니다. 밀가루 선수 승리 소감 어떠신가요?
Congrats, Milkara. How do you feel?
일단 굉장히 좋고요. 상하이 기 많이 빡셀 것 같아가지고 긴장 많이 했는데.
I feel really good, and I was really kind of nervous because Shanghai Dragons is a good team, but it really feels really good for that win.
POTM 받을 거라고 예상하셨나요?
Did you expect
절대
getting the player of the match today?
오히려 에이드나 얼도 선수가 받을 줄 알았는데 제가 좀
No, I
몰랐어요.
thought Aid or Aldo
몰랐다라고
would
겸손한
get the player of the match today, but
방금 중계석에서 어떤 이야기가 나왔냐면요. 밀가루 선수께서 문창식 해설의 개인 방송에서 피드백을 받은 적이 있냐 없냐라는 그런 의견이 나왔습니다. 혹시 어떤 일이 있었던 건가요?
so at the Korean cast,
받은 적 없습니다.
there was some talk about
없다는 걸로
Milkara
설명이
getting
났습니다.
feedback from Changshik. Was there? What's the story behind there?
플레이적인 질문 여쭤보자면요.
Yeah, there was
플레이가
a little bit of
굉장히
interaction, but not too
빛났습니다.
much.
상대 진영을 정말 잘 흔들었음에도 불구하고 굉장히 생존력이 뛰어나더라고요.
Your wrecking ball was really impressive. You
뭐였을까요?
harassed our enemy lines, and your survivability was really unbelievable. What's the secret behind that?
많이 맞춰야 되고요. 팀 상대한테. 그리고 레킹볼이 일단 굉장히 빠르기 때문에 그냥 줄거고 이리저리 돌면은
So,
상대가 별로 못 친다고 생각이 들어서
when you cast your shield, you
그래서
have
잘
to
살아남았던
you have to
것
cast it like when
스킬샷,
you're in the middle
스킬샷과
of everyone
무빙으로
in
잘
the enemy
노리고
lines. And also, wrecking ball is a really quick
오늘
hero,
골뿐만
so
아니라 라인도
you have to
좋은
use the
모습
mobility to
보여주셨고요.
its fullest if you want to
오리사도
survive
좋은
for a long
모습
time.
보여주셨습니다. 혹시
네.
오늘 나오지 않는 영웅을 포함해서
Your
본인이
Ryan
조금,
mirror was also impressive as
여러분이
well.
기대해봐도
What more
좋습니다
can we
할
expect
만한
from your
영웅이
hero pool?
있을까요?
저는 개인적으로 레킹볼이 굉장히 자신 있어서
어,
레킹볼 기대 많이 해주시면 감사할 것 같습니다.
Well, I mean,
wrecking ball
maybe
아주
not just
기대하고
out of
지켜보도록
the
하겠습니다.
heroes that haven't played, but
마지막으로
wrecking ball is really my ace in the
이번
hole.
시즌에
So,
대한 각오 한마디
just
해주시죠.
I think most expectations should be on my wrecking ball.
저번 시즌에는
So, what's your goal coming in to the rest of the season?
순위가 좋지 않았는데
네.
이번에는 열심히 해서 좋은 성적 내보도록 하겠습니다.
Well, last tournament
네,
we
밀가루
hadn't had the best of
선수
results,
오늘까지
but we're trying to fix it
응원하도록
this
하겠습니다.
season. So,
감사합니다.
yeah,
지금까지
please keep
SPJ
the
밀가루
support.
선수와 인터뷰
And
나눠봤습니다.
that's the end of the interview. Back to you, Vicky.
Thank you so much, Unknown. Shout out to Unknown for the amazing translation and getting to know a little bit more about Migaru. He's so young, so humble. You love to see that energy here in APAC and the up-and-comers from the Contenders team that have been able to put a name for themselves so far within the bracket network.
really have. I mean, take a look at the winners today. I mean, we did kind of expect to see Poker Face and Dreamers come out on top of their own matches, but O2 Blast and Sin Prisa Gaming getting the upset over the Overwatch League teams, that makes me even more excited to see what's going to come next, because all these teams have a very tough hurdle ahead of them. When we take a look at our brackets, it's all of the top Overwatch League teams that are waiting in the wings for them and their respective brackets.
Yeah, everyone can relax for today, because tomorrow is where the real business really goes down. We got Poker Face versus the Dallas Fuel in Group A, Dreamers versus the Hangzhou Spark, and then we got Panthera and Roach just waiting in that loser's bracket for right now. We also got the Group B bracket after the action that we just saw within our last two series. It's been a good time thus far, but it is also very exciting to see how these contenders teams were able to match up against our Overwatch League teams like the Guangzhou Charge, like the Shanghai Dragons. So this has allowed SPG to fight off against the Seoul Inferno, as well as O2 Blast playing off against the Seoul Dynasty.
It's going to be really tough, especially in bracket B. I feel like this is kind of like the bracket of death. When you take a look at just how heavy hitting a lot of these teams are, not only do you have like Seoul Inferno and Seoul Dynasty that have been sitting at the top of their respective leaderboards all season long, but of course, they're also going up against some really tough opposition in terms of their matches they played today. They were close. Sin Prisa Gaming and O2 Blast still had a... Yeah, they had to play really well to still get those wins, is all I'm saying. It wasn't a dominant sweep.
Yeah, it actually looked really close, and I'm so glad we got to take a look at Flashpoint being played for the first time in the Overwatch League. Kind of gives us a little sneak peek of what we could expect over in the West in just a few hours. But you guys saw on your screens the matches that we have for us coming to you tomorrow. I'm excited to see how that plays out, especially seeing what we've already witnessed from Ilari right there, as well as the different Flashpoint maps. Now, can some of these teams make those adjustments where they need to iron out things that they just didn't like? We saw so many different compositions being played. The Ball, the Orisa, the Ryan. We saw Sigma. We saw the Ram, I believe, at one point there too. It's really nice to see the diversity comps coming in after we had basically the same meta for quite some time between the Sombra, the Tracer, the Winston, and now we get a little bit of a mix-up by the end of the season, Necro.
Yeah, well, especially when it comes down to these APAC teams, it does feel like they leaned a little bit more heavily into like the Sombra Tracer dive on all accounts, and to see how they're going to adjust and develop their play styles, I can't wait. Knockouts is where it does get tough for these teams. They only have one life. Tomorrow, when you look at the lower bracket or next weekend, we're sending teams home. So, gotta be prepared, gotta be ready.
Yeah, we actually had a day of 3-1 Overwatch all day around, but don't let that deceive you. You guys definitely need to go back on these matches and see, especially, again, I have to highlight, it's been one of my favorites just to watch how Flashpoint played out and how close it was for all the series that we had for the day here in APAC. Necro, was there a specific favorite that you want to call out here that you got to see for the first time with these different patch notes that we were playing on now for the new season?
I am seeing more Torbjorn than I thought I would ever see in any iteration of an Overwatch meta. I don't know how I feel about it. Not sure yet. As long as you get more hammer kills, I will be happy. That's all I have to say.
I know also Jaws is very happy to see Tor being played too. Jaws loves that hero, but it's also nice to see, again, it's the highlight on the diversity that we've had thus far. The Molten Core coming into clutch a lot, especially for those close quarter points that are activated on Flashpoint too. We saw that being done a lot, or we could see things like Aid at the other side, who is very comfortable in playing a Torb, no matter what map you're playing on, working hand in hand with the minefield that we saw from the Ball when it comes to Miligaru.
There's another interaction that I'm looking forward to seeing how that develops, and that's going to be Ilari and how teams decide to respond to that hero choice. We did see a little bit of a nerf come through on the live patch that we're playing on just before we ended up walking into this weekend, but still teams are looking at that Ilari choice to help bolster up that backline. How does Kiriko come into play? That Suzu cleanse, so important now to be able to shut off certain things like the sun, the closing sun. That I just want to say that that's going to be something that'll be really exciting to watch.
Hopefully it helps them out with the sunburn, put some ointment on that. That's what the clans helps everybody do when it comes to that captive sun. Alright guys, that's going to be it here in APAC. Don't forget, we got some more Overwatch League action for you for today, looking at the West, as well as more action tomorrow you do not want to miss with an APAC. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you later.